These nations are secretly preparing for war. You weren't supposed to know. The war plans, nobody talked about. They didn't announce it. No flags were raised, no leaders declared intentions. But deep in bunkers, borderlands, and encrypted networks, plans were made. Weapons were moved. Troops were trained. This is not about wars already being fought. This is about wars quietly being prepared. And according to recently leaked documents, satellite imagery, and defense intercepts, you were never supposed to know. The new face of modern war preparation. In the 21st century, wars are not always launched with sirens or televised speeches. In many cases, they begin long before the first shot is fired through covert mobilization, classified weapons development, and silent alliances. While headlines focus on active conflicts like Ukraine or Gaza, other nations are quietly preparing for wars that haven't started yet. These preparations are subtle. Troop movements disguised as exercises, cyber operations masked as civilian infrastructure upgrades, secret arms purchases, and unmapped construction projects hidden from public view. Recent leaks from intelligence agencies, including the CIA, Mossad GRU, and others combined with commercial satellite data and whistleblower accounts, expose a global pattern. Multiple countries are laying the groundwork for military conflict, without informing their populations, without parliamentary debate, and without the international community fully aware. Why the secrecy? Because in an age of global scrutiny, information itself is a battlefield. Knowledge of military intentions can alter markets, trigger alliances, or provoke enemies too soon. The best strategy for many governments is to prepare in silence and strike when readiness meets opportunity. In this report, we examine 6 countries, and now implicated in covert preparations for potential conflict. In each case, the question is not only who might go to war, but how long they've been preparing without the world knowing. Let's begin with the country whose satellites now detect missile deployments in regions marked as civilian farmland. 1. China missiles in the farmlands publicly. China speaks the language of economic partnership and regional stability. But behind that diplomacy, its military planning has taken a different course, especially around the Taiwan Strait and South China Sea. Recent satellite imagery analyzed by private firms has revealed the construction of long-range missile silos camouflaged as agricultural installations in Gansu and Fujian provinces. These sites are not declared in China's official military maps, and their location near both Taiwan and American Pacific bases is raising concern among Western analysts. In early 2025, a trove of leaked play documents surfaced on a secure intelligence forum. Though not officially verified, the documents described a multi-phase strategy named Seawall, outlining plans to disable communications infrastructure across the Taiwan Strait, conduct cyber attacks on Taiwanese defense systems, and potentially enforce a partial naval blockade under the guise of anti-piracy operations. China has also been conducting joint drills with Russia in the Sea of Japan and developing autonomous naval drones technologies that are still under wraps in state-controlled media. More discreetly, bulk orders for aviation fuel and satellite jamming equipment have been routed through shell companies operating out of Hong Kong and Singapore. Beijing has not officially commented on any of these findings, but the trend is clear. Military logistics, cyber warfare assets, and missile readiness are being strengthened under a cloak of normalcy. Analysts fear the goal is simple: avoid triggering alarms until every piece is in place. 2. EGYPT desert drills and hidden alliances. Egypt has long balanced its identity as both a regional stabilizer and a military heavyweight. But in recent months, intelligence reports suggest that Cairo is shifting from defensive posture to operational readiness, particularly in the Western Desert and the Sinai Peninsula. According to satellite imagery released by the Jane's Defense Group, at least 3 new hardened aircraft shelters and logistics hubs have appeared near the Libyan border. Though officially designated as counterterrorism installations, intercepted military procurement documents suggest they are built to host advanced fighter jets and long-range drones, far beyond what is needed for local insurgency operations. In parallel, Egypt has deepened defense ties with Russia and the UAE, with both countries reportedly involved in funding military infrastructure upgrades under civilian contracts. Leaked internal memos from Egypt's Ministry of Defense indicate a plan titled Red Sand Contingency, which outlines dual-front mobilization capabilities, one against Ethiopia over the Nile Dam dispute, the other against potential instability spilling from Libya. U.S. intelligence agencies, in a 2025 unclassified summary, warned that Egypt's quiet rearmament is not in line with any regional threat profile publicly acknowledged. The country has also ordered advanced radar systems from South Korea and received Israeli-made counter-drone technology, despite not publicly announcing either deal. What's more concerning, Egypt has begun restricting foreign satellite surveillance over key military zones using legal pretexts and digital jamming, while Cairo maintains an image of peace and regional mediation. Behind closed doors, its military is preparing for multiple conflict scenarios, and doing so with maximum opacity. 3. IRAN satellites, cyber units. In strategic patience, Iran's strategic doctrine has always relied on patience, proxies, and deniability. But recent intelligence leaks point to a shift in posture from reactive deterrence to preemptive readiness. In early 2025, Israeli cyber intelligence group Blackpillar leaked files obtained from Iranian Revolutionary Guard servers. The files revealed a classified satellite program named KNOW-UR2, which reportedly includes surveillance platforms capable of real-time targeting over the Persian Gulf and Israel. Meanwhile, Iran's cyber divisions, long active against infrastructure in Saudi Arabia and Israel, have expanded their operational reach. U.S. Cyber Command estimates a 40% increase in state-sponsored penetration attempts against Western energy firms and Middle Eastern airspace control systems since late 2024. Physically, Iran has expanded its underground missile-based network in Khuzestan and Fars provinces. These facilities are concealed beneath civilian agricultural zones and connected via subterranean rail corridors designed to evade satellite detection, according to leaked French defense reports. Iran has already tested mobile launchers for medium-range ballistic missiles in these tunnels. Beyond its borders, Iran's ties to proxy forces have grown more centralized, as Hezbollah units in southern Lebanon have received new drone variants with stealth coatings. WHILE, Iran-backed militias in Iraq, now operate under a command system reportedly linked via encrypted satellite uplinks. Publicly, Tehran speaks of sovereignty and deterrence. But the combination of satellite control, cyber escalation, and forward-positioned missile networks points to something more coordinated and more dangerous. The world has long watched Iran's rhetoric, but it is Iran's silence in recent months that has intelligence agencies most concerned. 4. North Korea war underground. Signals above few regimes operate in secrecy like North Korea. But in 2025, even by Pyongyang standards, its military preparations have reached a new level of concealment and ambition. According to declassified intercepts from South Korea's NIS, North Korea has constructed a network of deep underground complexes near the Chongjin coast, capable of housing mobile missile launchers, command centers, and critical fuel reserves. These facilities are resistant to bunker-busting munitions and deliberately located in civilian industrial zones, complicating any future targeting decisions. In the air, the regime has begun a program of spoofed telemetry launches, ballistic missile tests that simulate trajectory without crossing Japanese or South Korean airspace. The purpose is to test re-entry vehicles, potentially small-scale tactical nuclear warheads, without triggering direct retaliation. Cyber reconnaissance has also intensified. In Q1 of 2025, U.S. Cyber Command documented over 6,000 intrusion attempts traced to Lazarus Group, North Korea's premier state-backed hacker cell. Their targets were not just military. They included hospital networks, water grid systems, and emergency communications across Seoul and Tokyo. Perhaps most chilling are the leaked documents from a defector once a logistics officer inside North Korea's Ministry of Defense who claimed that a portion of the country's mobile artillery has been pre-positioned near the DMZ in silent activation status. These are units with live rounds and standing orders but no public movement. North Korea is not broadcasting its war plans. It doesn't have to. In the language of authoritarian strategy, silence can be the loudest message of all. 5. Turkey hidden deployments. Two fronts. Turkey presents itself as a NATO ally and regional mediator. Yet behind that public face, Qatar is quietly preparing for scenarios that could place it at odds with both neighbors and partners. Internal leaks from Turkey's general staff published by a whistleblower group known as Anadolu's Shadow, describe covert deployments of Turkish special forces into northern Iraq and northern Syria under humanitarian pretexts. The same documents reveal a doctrine called Shield of the Crescent, designed for rapid territorial consolidation in border regions under chaos. Even more concerning are the military exercises conducted near the Armenian border in early 2025. Though presented as routine drills, satellite footage shows the transport of long-range artillery and anti-air systems, a lot beyond what's necessary for counterinsurgency. Turkey has also upgraded its drone fleet with autonomous targeting algorithms tested quietly in Libya and the Caucasus. In a leaked memo from a retired NATO logistics officer, it was revealed that several Turkish drone hubs are now fully operational in Azerbaijan, under training agreements that allow for dual-use deployment. Internally, the Turkish government has passed legislation authorizing military operations without parliamentary approval in areas deemed external threat zones. Legal scholars in Istanbul suggest this framework is intentionally vague, giving the executive sweeping powers to act without oversight. While the West sees Turkey as a strategic partner, its parallel alliances with Qatar, Azerbaijan, and even Russia indicate a multi-directional strategy. That flexibility is also ambiguity, one that masks preparation, expansion, and opportunism. Turkey's battlefield may not be declared in advance, but its positioning already is. 6. Venezuela, the jungle division, and the oil line in South America. A new type of war preparation is underway, not loud, not fast, but slow and deliberate. Venezuela, long viewed as an isolated and declining power, is now quietly building the foundation for an offensive operation against its neighbor Guyana. The core of the tension is the Essequibo region, a vast stretch of jungle claimed by Venezuela but administered by Guyana. Late 2024, a controversial referendum backed by Maduro's government gave near unanimous approval for the annexation of the territory, despite widespread international condemnation. But what followed was more telling than the vote itself. Leaked Colombian military briefings show the construction of jungle roads, helicopter pads, and forward operating stations within 50 kilometers of the Guyanese border. These developments are not consistent with internal defense. They are consistent with pre-invasion staging. Satellite thermal imaging from March 2025 showed armored vehicle movement under dense, canopy cover in Venezuela's Bolívar state. These units, likely from Venezuela's 92nd Jungle Brigade, have not been declared in any public military exercises. Meanwhile, Guyana has begun receiving logistical support from Brazil and military equipment from the U.S., including surveillance drones and mobile radar. Diplomatic cables leaked by an OAS staffer reveal contingency planning for a multinational defensive deployment. If Venezuela crosses the border, perhaps most telling is the digital silence. No images, no coverage, no internal leaks from Caracas. Intelligence analysts believe this reflects tight operational security and a long-term plan to strike without media warning. Venezuela may not have the capacity for prolonged war, but it may not need it. If the goal is rapid territorial claim, followed by political negotiation, the jungle may soon be more than disputed land. It may become the front line. The war plans in the dark. Across continents, regimes are moving pieces on a board few are allowed to see. Weapons are positioned, laws rewritten, and alliances tested not in broad daylight, but behind walls, beneath jungle canopies, undersea lanes, and within encrypted communications. These are not speculative moves, they're real-world preparations, corroborated by satellite data, leaked briefings, intercepted messages, and disappearing transparency. Each of the nations examined in this report, China, Egypt, Iran, North Korea, Turkey, and Venezuela, is engaged in systematic, covert military readiness. Not all intend to strike, but all are preparing to win, should the strike come. In the age of information, war planning has evolved. The battlefield is no longer only about territory or tanks. It is about secrecy, deniability, and timing. By preparing silently, these governments buy time. Time to test weapons, time to mislead observers, time to act when the world is distracted. But there is a cost to secrecy. When transparency is removed, so is trust. And when trust collapses between nations, miscalculation becomes inevitable. We may be entering an era not marked by declared wars, but by sudden escalations conflicts that emerge from years of quiet positioning. What intelligence agencies are now uncovering is not just military activity, it is intent. These aren't war games, they are war signals. The most sobering truth is this: by the time the world sees the first explosion, much of the war will have already been fought in the shadows, behind the silence. Pay attention to what is not said, because in global power politics, silence is not peace, it's strategy.